First things first, I blowed out my hair for this, so I hope you are all appreciating the effort that I am putting in to winning you guys over again, because I'm so sorry! Okay, so if you are here for my Bookcon haul, just wait patiently. There's a timestamp right here if you want to just skip to that and get to my Bookcon haul. But I have to explain some stuff to my subscribers because there's like over 800 of you now, and I am just the worst. So let me just get this out of the way. So I know about 4 months ago, I think, I posted a video called Ka'uho'ina, which means my return in Hawaiian, and I was gonna get back into vlogging, and everything was gonna be perfect, and I was gonna be amazing, and you were all gonna be so glittery, bedazzled by my amazingness at consistency in vlogging. And then I dropped off the face of the planet, okay? I know. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I'm the worst. But at the end of the semester, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I know I keep saying that, but there just keeps being a lot of stuff going on. So I don't even know what commitments I'm making anymore to this channel. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna be completely real with all of you. So before we get into this haul, I feel like I owe you guys some kind of update, so you know what's gonna happen next semester and what's going on with me, because I'm just dropped off the grid. Even on Twitter, I'm not really tweeting much about my life anymore. I don't really know. So first things first, I have a song out. Yeah, the link is in the description of this video if you want to listen to it. It's called Rose. I've been writing other songs. I'm gonna be making them, and it's super exciting. I hope you guys listen to it. The link is in the description. It'll also be probably the end song at the end of this video. Also, next semester, I will be returning to University of Hawaii at Manoa, of course. I don't know why I even feel like I have to tell you guys that, but I will be going back. I will be living in the same apartment building as my friends. The room that I was in at Gateway, it was nice. Like, Gateway's amazing. I loved Gateway, but it's really small. There's no kitchen or anything. So me and my roommate from this past year have decided that we're gonna move into a real apartment on campus. I'm so excited. I'm living in Haleʻi this next semester. I know I didn't get a tour of Gateway, but I will try to get a tour of Wainani. I'm still doing stuff with film and TV sets on Island and all that kind of stuff. I've met some really cool people. I've done some really cool things. It's really awesome. Yeah. One of the short films that I worked on called Dungeons and Drag Queens is going to be premiered opening night at the Hawaii Rainbow Film Festival in August, which I am not going to be there for, which I'm very sad about. But if you are going to be there, it's called Dungeons and Drag Queens. It's going to be opening night, and you should totally go, because I was like a huge part of making that film, and I love it like my own child, even though it's not my child, it's the director's child, but I love it so much. So you should definitely go and watch it. As soon as I have a link, I'll share it with you guys somehow. If you guys would be interested in seeing some of the stuff I'm doing with like short films and like TV stuff there, let me know, because I can try harder to vlog that. Basically, what this video is going to be, because like I said, I've had some trouble getting back into the swing of vlogging, so I'm just trying to post something on the internet. And something that I really find a lot of joy in watching is a realm of YouTube called Booktube. Now, this is not going to become a Booktube channel by any means. Vlogs are still first and foremost my home and everything that I do, but I do read a lot of books, and I want to talk about the books that I like, and I'm sure that there are people who also want to talk about books, so that's why I'm doing this. I went to a book convention in New York City called Bookcon. I think it was June 1st. I went only one day. There are 2 days. Next year I'm going to go both days, definitely. But I went on June 1st with my mom, and I got a ton of books. Like, I got way too many books, and I'm currently reading one of them right now, and it's very good. I have a lot of signed books, a lot of ARCs, which are advanced reader's copies, so books that aren't even out yet. I really want to share all of them with you, so if you're not interested in that, you can click off this video now. Thank you for listening to me talk about my life, and I can't wait to post more vlogs. If you clicked just to this timestamp, hello, welcome to my booktube haul. So the first book I'm going to talk about in this haul is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I already read this book, and it's magical. It is so magical. So this young adult novel follows the story of Ben, who comes out to their parents as non-binary, and they don't take it well, and then they have to go live with their sister, who they have not seen in like 10 years. And along the way, they go to a new school, and they do all sorts of things with art, and they meet a boy named Nathan, who is wonderful. And this book is beautiful. This book is going to save lives. And when I met Mason, the author of this book, I told them that. I was like, this book is sensational. Because it is. And I read it the weekend before Bookcon because I knew that I was going to meet them because I had tickets to a signing. Speaking of which, they signed it. And it's really beautiful and I'm so happy. I actually own 2 signed copies of this book because I wanted this book so bad when I heard about it that I went online and I bought a signed copy. And then I went to Bookcon and I met them and I bought another signed copy. And I met them and they were so lovely. We talked about their nails. It was a great time. We had a lot of fun together. So I think this is the only book in this haul that I've actually read. The rest of them are just ones that I'm very excited to read. But yeah, I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. The next book I'm going to talk about in this haul is called The Rules and Regulations for Mediating Myths and Magic. And I am so excited that I have this book. I literally did not know about it until I went to Bookcon, but I'm already reading it and I'm obsessed with it. I also met the author of this book and she signed my book and it says, "To Emily, be an angry unicorn, F.T. Lukens." So yeah, I already love her. This book follows the story of Bridger, who is in desperate need of money for college. He goes to a strange job interview, to say the least, from what I've seen so far. He has to climb in through the roof to get to the job interview, and it's a whole thing, but he gets the job and they have him doing weird stuff, organizing books about fairies and like weird ancient scrolls, and all of that is pretty easy to ignore until he gets dragged to the bottom of a lake by a mermaid, and his crush, Leo, is there to see it happen, and all hell breaks loose is what I gather from this book, and I'm so excited to read it. I also got my hands on the sequel, which comes out in mid-October, October 15th. October 15th is when this book comes out, but I'm probably going to read it before then because I'm going to suck through this first book and then read this one right away because this is super cute, and I love this series already. Oh, and she signed this one too. "To Emily, Unicorns Believe in You." Love that for me. The next book I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot here, is Running with Lions by Julian Winters. And I am so excited for this book, which I'm going to say that about every book that I have, because I am so excited for all these books. This book follows the story of Sebastian, who is in his senior year of high school, and he has a lot to be happy about. He's on a sports team with a coach that is accepting of his sexuality, and he is very happy until his estranged best friend, Amir, shows up and joins the team. Essentially, this story is Amir and Sebastian trying to salvage their friendship for the sake of the Lions, and on the way, turns into something more. I am so excited for this book. I am so sad that I was not there the day that Julian Winters was signing books because I definitely would have met him and gotten this signed. And also I got a preview of his next book, which is, I think this is just the first chapter, but I got a preview of it. If I was there the next day, I would have gotten a full arc. But I was not there the next day, but that's okay. I'm super excited to get into this, just to read this and see how I like it, so that way when this book comes out on September 10th, I will be able to just jump right in, because I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I'm so excited to get into it. Yeah. The next book I'm going to talk about is called Amina's Voice by Hannah Khan. Now, this was not a book that I went to Bookcon like specifically to get. I did go to a book signing for Hannah Khan and I was super excited about it because I'd heard great things. But I bought this book because it seems really interesting, and also the author was super unbelievably nice. She said that she's writing a sequel to this book, so I'm hoping that I can blow through this one because it's a middle grade book. I'm hoping I can blow through this one in time to read the sequel because this story seems phenomenal. This book follows Amina, who has just gotten into middle school, and she's going through a lot with her identity as a Muslim girl and her life just as a middle schooler. And while she's trying to figure all this out for herself, her mosque gets vandalized, and it's very hard for her. And I'm so excited to get into it because books like this are so important, especially for middle grade kids, because like books with these powerful females that are just like them, that's so important. So I'm so excited to get into this book. She signed this book. It says, "To Emily, your voice matters," and she's so sweet. I actually also got an arc for her next book called More to the Story. This book, from what I can tell, is basically like inspired by Little Women, but it's for beautiful little Muslim girls, and I am so excited to read it. It comes out September 3rd. Basically, it follows the story of Jamila, who wants to be a reporter just like her late grandfather, and her dad goes away for 6 months, I think it is, for work, and she wants to write this amazing article that he'll be proud of, but then her younger sister's health declines, and she sort of has to decide what really matters to her. and I am so excited to read this book. And I know I'm saying that for everything, but it's true. So I'm so excited to read this book and get back to you all about how probably wonderful it is, because this author is wonderful. To Emily, Tell Your Story. And yeah, it's lovely, and I'm so excited to get into it. I just have too many books. I don't have enough time to read all of them. My mom was joking with me, and she was like, Emily, you're gonna have to like stop sleeping so you have time to read all these books. And I was like, I know, it's a problem. The next book I'm going to talk about is This Is Kind of an Epic Love Story by Case and Callender. And I know it says a different name on here, but they are non-binary and I'm going to use their correct name. This follows the story of Nate, who is essentially a film buff and an inspiring screenwriter, and his friend named Florence, who was his girlfriend for a minute, but then now they're not, they're just best friends again. And Florence is set on getting Nate a boyfriend. Nate's childhood best friend Ollie comes back to town and they connect again. And I am so excited to read this book. I already actually own this book. And I don't have a signed version of it, but I got this version signed for my friend Jordan, who loves Kaysen so much. Like, this is like one of her favorite books of all time. So it says, for Jordan, thank you for your wonderful words, Kaysen. Because I had told Kaysen when I met them that Jordan was just idolized them. Kaysen was just so thankful and so glad that I was getting her this book. So this is for Jordan. I own this book also. I will probably read it, and of course I'm gonna read it. I'm so excited about it. There was one thing where I think Kaysen's Kaysen's book was nominated against Kaysen's other book, which I will show you in a second, for an award. And the other book, I think this is the one that won against their other book, is called Hurricane Child. Hurricane Child follows the story of Caroline, who was born on St. Thomas of the U.S. Virgin Islands, I believe. And she is going through a lot. She's bullied a lot at school. Her mom left one day and never came back. But then a new girl named Kalinda moves to town, and Caroline develops feelings for her. I am so blown away by the fact that this book exists, like a book about queer girls for middle grade. Like, I can't believe this exists. If I read this when I was 12, I would have lost my mind. As a bisexual girl, if I read a book about girls my age loving other girls, I would have completely lost my mind. I would have just combusted into a gay form of chaos. It would have been crazy. I would have come out like 5 years earlier than I did. When I was at Bookcon, I actually skimmed some of it, like the first couple pages, and it's so beautifully written. It's award-winning now, as it deserves. And also the cover is so beautiful. Like, can we just talk about the cover? And like I said, Kaysen is so unbelievably nice. I love them to death. They follow me on Twitter, I think, and I think we're best friends. I don't think they think we're best friends, but I think we're best friends because I love them so much. Oh, and Kaysen signed this because they are so unbelievably lovely. The next book I'm going to talk about is called Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali, and listen, y'all. I was so excited when I got tickets to the S.K. Ali and HanaCon signing, because this book has been in my TBR for months now, and it's finally out, and I specifically didn't buy it because I was like, well, what if I get it at Bookcon? And then there were tickets left for the signing, and I was like, you know what? Do you know what? I'm gonna get it. And I did, and I met S. Kelly, and she was so nice. Everyone was so nice. I'm so shook about how nice everyone was. And just like all the other books where I met the authors, they signed it to Emily, Love from S to E, S. Kelly, and she's so sweet. And we talked about her other books because her other books are all in the same universe. She has another book called Saints and Misfits that I also want to read that has other characters that are in this book, and then these two characters are going to be in the sequel to Saints and Misfits. So everything takes place in the same universe and they all know each other, and I love when authors do that. And I told her that, and I told her that I thanked her and HanaCon for being incredibly inspiring, powerful female authors, because the world needs so many more of those. But basically, Love from A to Z follows the story of Zineb, who is dealing with a xenophobic high school teacher, and she stands up to this teacher, and the school does not like that, and so she's going through the thick of it, and then she meets a boy named Adam who was just diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and the story is of them connecting and I think falling in love. So that is this book. Yeah, I'm so excited. Whew, boy, 3 more left, y'all. We doing it. The next book I'm going to talk about is Awakened by James Murray and Darren Wehrmouth. Now, before I get into the summary of this book, I went to a panel for the author of this book because it's James Murray, which I don't know if you're familiar with Impractical Jokers, but Mur from Impractical Jokers wrote this book. I I've never really read a horror novel before. I mean, I love horror movies. Like, we stand horror movies. My top 5, I think, favorite movies are all horror movies. But I've never really read a horror novel because I've always been sort of curious about how it's been worked out. But I went to a panel where I listened to James Murray talk about how to write horror. They were just talking about how to write horror and how to delve into that aspect of fiction where you're combining this narrative of description with building tension to get, and it's very similar to comedy. It was a really interesting discussion that I really enjoyed the panel of. And when I heard them talking about writing horror, I said, well, I have to read what they've done. So I waited in line for like 20 minutes so I could buy this book, even though like you can get it other places, but it was cheaper, I think, at Bookcon, because on Amazon it was like $15 or $18. And then at Bookcon I got this for like 10. So love that for me. But yeah, I don't really know that much about this book other than the fact it's a horror film that takes place in the tunnels of a subway, I think, or train. Yeah, it takes place under New York City in the train and tunnel areas, underground. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's what it takes place in, and it seems really scary, and I am super stoked to read it because I'm so curious about what James Murray is going to do with horror. And there's a sequel that is coming out soon also, so I gotta get on this one so I can get into that one. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Seafarers' Kiss by Julia Ember. This is another one of those books that I have wanted for a very, very, very long time, but I've just not seen it anywhere. I don't know why. I've only seen it on Amazon, and whenever I'm like going to a bookstore and I'm like, hey, I want to go buy a book, I never see this there. So when I saw it at Bookcon, I actively screamed and bought it, like right away. Like I bought it immediately upon seeing it. So this book follows the story of Ursula, who is a mermaid, and and she essentially falls in love with a girl on land. And then the guy that she's betrothed to sees them together and puts her in a dilemma to either never see this girl again or face the wrath of their king. So Ursula goes to the divine Loki, who is essentially the god of lies, and asks for help, but he makes things worse. And basically, to summarize this, it's lesbian mermaids. And that's just everything that I need. It's kind of like The Little Mermaid, but it's lesbians. And that's just really, that's what matters in the world, isn't it? Also another book by this author that is essentially a retelling of Peter Pan, but with lesbians. And I almost bought it, but I was spending way too much money on books. I did buy this one though, because this one I have been wanting to read for a very, very long time. So the next book that I'm going to talk about, and I think this is actually my last book of this haul, is called Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. This actually comes with a funny story because I was standing in the line for the Mason Deaver and Casing Calendar signing, and I met someone who was talking about a book about gay superheroes. And I swerved into this conversation and I said, hello, gay superheroes, you say? Where can I get involved? And that was how I met C.B. Lee, because she was the one talking about her book about gay superheroes, and she told me about it, and I immediately went and I bought this book. So this follows the story of Jessica Tran, who has superhero parents, but she doesn't have any superhero powers herself, and she's struggling with it. It sucks. So she gets an internship with a villain, sort of despite them, her parents, but also to get some good recommendations on her college, some good application material. She's killing it, and she meets a girl there named Abby, and she develops a crush on Abby, and then there's this other character named M, who she also develops a crush on. I've heard this book is similar to like Sky High, that movie from like years ago, but it's gay. And that's everything that a red-blooded American needs, isn't it? And also, like I said, this author was so unbelievably nice. When I saw her at the signing, and then I saw her again later, and she signed my book for me. Like, she wasn't doing a signing or anything. She just had a Sharpie, and she was like, I'll sign your book for you, of course. Yeah, see, she signed it right there. Like, if you're interested in this book, totally get it, because support kind authors. Support bisexual authors. Hello, bi queens for the win. Love us. So yeah, that is a wrap on my Bookcon haul. That's pretty much everything I got, aside from like a lanyard and like some coasters, which are right here. Actually, I got these coasters, and I'm gonna bring them to my apartment on campus next semester, which I promise to show you. And I will try to do some vlogging this summer. I really don't know what I'm gonna be doing. Maybe I'll do some more book videos if anyone is interested in these. Who knows? But I'm gonna post this just to see what happens. And I don't know. It's been a great time. I love you all very much. Be sure to like and subscribe to join the OHANA because the OHANA is lit as fuck. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Bye.